Hello, this is a practice video for Incantations by Richard Meyer. First segment we're going to work on in this video is measures 10 up to 29. So I'm going to walk you through the left hand because there's a bunch of fingerings in the part, and I want to make sure that you understand what we're asking you to do and how to do it. Then we're gonna address the rhythm of the passage. Then we're gonna play it, and that should take care of this. So first, the fingerings. Let's start right at measure 10. I'm gonna be very slow, gonna be out of rhythm, just talking a little bit as I play to help you. And you should be kind of plucking or bowing along with me. So 10. So 1 and shift to second position and stay there. Stay all the way through. And continue. Now back. So pretty straight ahead. It avoids the open D because it just lies so nicely in second position. The shift to second position going into measure 11, right? You've got the F sharp and the E. And then let's do a practice drill here. So we're going to go E, slide to F sharp, and set. And as we're sliding, we're making sure our second, third, and fourth fingers are on the G string, so it's ready to play that D. So the exercise is, and then we're just going to do that a few times. And another thing to think about, as you're sliding, it's ever so slight, but the hand spacing needs to shrink the slightest bit from first position to second position. And it'll enable you to get that D perfectly in tune. So you check it against the open D. Right, you make sure you're locking in. Okay, and those four measures should line up through 14. That should be fine. Go ahead to measure 18. There's a little shift here, right? So let's do that slowly. 3, second extension. Okay, so your first position, shift to second, and reach back for the F natural. So it's two hand positions. There's no X marked next to the 1 in measure 18, so make sure that you mark that if you need it. That will help. All right, and then you come back home. So here's 18. We'll do this together. Shift, extend, and then back to first position. Now we're going into 20, into third position. And stay there. Now we're going to go fourth. Shift to. That is an F natural there. It looks kind of like a 3, the last note of measure 22, but it's a 2. It's an F natural. And then you come home. And the rest needs no fingering, shifting work. Okay, so that's this passage. Let's work the end of 19 into 20, getting into third position. So the E. So how do we find that F up there? Well, we're going to do an exercise. E, slide to G on the D string. And let's just do this. Join me. Just practice that several times until you're totally comfortable with it. And then it turns into this. Because that 1 sets up the 4 on the F natural. Again, you're coming from first position, and the hand spacing is going to shrink even a little more because now you're on to third position. Right, and then sometimes you could come back. Sometimes it's just good to reverse the direction. It helps you get used to the spacing. So let's do this. And then we're sliding on the old string, on the last string you're on, and then the fingers are setting themselves up on the new string. So E, and then, okay? So you can practice the shift that way and get that sound in your ear. Once you're in third position, at 20, you camp there until here. Now fourth. There's the F natural. Yeah, and just a quick note about the bow. In 23, that G is not easy to do an up bow decrescendo. So you just have to work for that. Because the tendency on an up bow is to, as you get closer to the frog, is to crescendo. So you have to start louder and lighten up. It just goes against the natural grain, so you have to make sure you do that. Okay, so that's an overview of what the left hand has to do in terms of all the notes and some shifting and even a little bit of bow stuff. Next, I'm going to pluck and count, measure 10 up to 29. So what I want you to do now is stop the video, pause the video, and you make sure you can clap and count from 10 up through 29. Get really good at that. Do it with a metronome. 72 is a good tempo, as is marked in the part, and then turn it back on, and you clap and count, and make sure your clapping and counting lines up with my plucking and counting. All right, so here we go. This is 10. So 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 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 2, and 3, and okay, so that's plucking and counting through it, putting it in rhythm. Make sure you can, after you've clapped and counted with that, make sure you can pluck and count with that. Now I'm going to hover bow and count it, and the reason and the power of hover bowing cannot be understated. The reason for doing it is it puts the music into your right hand, and that's really where a large percentage of this is where the music is brought to life, is through your right hand, what it does. Yes, the left hand has some impact, of course, the vibrato, the way you shift, playing in tune, all that stuff. But the bow, I don't know, to put a percentage on it, it's big. Let's put it 75-80% responsible for singing your song or making it a musical experience. So let's do that. Here it goes. So you're basically moving your left hand and moving your bow, but make sure you hold your bow at the part of your bow, the balance point. It's okay if the fingers lightly nick the hair. So 2 and 3 and 1 and 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 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and yeah, I mean the hover bowing, it's going to make sure you're doing the right bowings, the slurs and all of that, but and it's also critically important in terms of making you think about what your bow needs to do to get the dynamic. When you're at 20, right, your hand's in third position, so it's closer to the bottom of the fingerboard, so the bow has to move towards the bridge to get that sound, right? If I play that F here in my bow, it's a lot thinner than that. Really gives more depth and thickness and richness to the sound. the bow speed, the location, the amount of weight you're using. It enables you to think about that without making sound. And then when you do make sound, it comes out that much better. So let's do that. We're going to bow with a metronome. 2 and 3 and 1. All right, happy practicing.